I'm gonna mute you. So, were you able to do the watch party? I'm gonna leave it on. Here, let me do it. Hey y'all, hey, welcome. We're just trying to get this watch party going. Oops, I should have muted myself. Yeah, so maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's weird. Hold on. I don't know. Maybe not. It used to be where you could, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So
Yep, that's fine.
she tried, whoever she tried. All right, y'all. So thank you so much for hopping on this live. I am Tamara, and if you don't know, if you're here because of Bridgett, I host a podcast called Tamara Till the Break of Dawn. And on that show, I talk about my life, the ways I'm trying to grow, specifically focusing on like being healthy and mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, and in my relationships. And I mean, I'm a storyteller, and you'll get to know my personality on this live. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Hey, Jay. Thank you for tuning in my podcast, Happy Hour Sisters. They always come through. You feel me? But before we get all into this thing, yes, autumn. I know you had a very, very big weekend, like a milestone that a lot of parents can't wait for, Bridgett. So, how are you feeling? And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, her oldest daughter, actually only daughter, oldest child, graduated this weekend from high school. I was at the graduation party feeling blessed and bougie. A episode coming later because I was just living it up at her house. Stayed there hours past when it ended. But
It was
yeah, how are you feeling? Like you have a graduate. Like, how does
yeah,
that feel?
it feels good to it feels good, but there's still that nervousness in my pit, like, did I
Mm.
do it right?
Oh, girl.
Did I do it right? Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what's our next steps? Like just keeping the ball rolling, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was great. It was a fun, festive weekend. And then Tuesday came and I was like, we have stuff to do still. So,
All
hey,
right.
Brad.
Thanks for tuning in, sir. Appreciate it. How long did her actual graduation go?
You know
Like,
what? It actually only lasted a little over an hour. I was
I
shocked,
know that's right. Yes, because ain't nobody trying to be there for all that.
especially not at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. I
That
was like,
part.
oh my goodness, they have got to be kidding me. But yeah, it lasted a little over an hour. They had some technological issues, so they cut out some of the stuff that they were gonna do. So even though, hey April, so even though it was supposed
Hey, April. Thanks for tuning in.
even though it was supposed to last a couple of hours, it only lasted like an hour and 15 minutes or so. So it
I
was great though.
love it.
It
Yes,
was
that's what's
great.
up. All right. Well, like I said, y'all know what I'm here for. Y'all know what Bridgett brought you here. Y'all saw the flyer. So I guess I'll give a little bit of background information on kind of how I met Bridgett, but then also like why I'm so passionate and such a fan of the work that she's doing. So she and I go to the same church, and I, as I said, host a podcast, and then I'm launching a brand. So, long story short, with that, I decided that I wanted to turn Tamara the Dawn, which is my website, it's also most of my social media handles, into a company. So, my company is Tamara the Dawn Incorporated. Now, I went to Bridgett kind of like on some, okay, I know Bridgett is very business knowledgeable because I know she, is the founder of Room for Roots and I know the work that they do. So I went to her like, hey, I'm going to fill out the paperwork to start my business. Can you just like help me fill it out? Because I know you know what you're doing. So I need you to help me so I can know what I'm doing and I don't mess it up. So that's how I went to her. And then what she said to me, being just the person that she is, that she has such a heart to want to help people, like for real help them. Not just let me do it for you, but let me give you the knowledge so you could be really equipped to have a solid foundation. And so she said, I mean, yeah, I could do that if that's what you want to do. But then she said, or you could, I got a session starting up for Priscilla's Way pretty soon, and you can actually join that. It's 9 weeks. And at the end of all of that, I will be the one to actually pay the fees to register your business with the state. And then you'll also have a business mentor and access to the CPA and my knowledge and resources and everything I got, you got, and all that good stuff. And so I was like, yes, I am here for it, because normally I like to just dive into stuff and just figure it out as I go. But I kind of knew that with starting a business, if I wanted to be successful, because then oftentimes what happens with that is then when it gets too hard or I hit them parts where I don't know what I'm doing or whatever, I usually quit. That's how it's been with every other creative endeavor, honestly, until podcasting. And so I actually just finished the Priscilla's Way program. I think it was a couple weeks ago. And so wrote my business plan, which y'all listen, almost cried doing that. No, I did cry. Let's not even front. I cried. I didn't think I could do it. Bridgett was so encouraging though, because the way the program is set up is you're really writing your business plan as you're going. You just don't realize it. And then you just put it all together at the end. Hey. And so yeah, I'm starting a consulting company. Be doing professional development and coaching. And so I'm the kind of person, my show is centered around my life and the ways I'm trying to grow. So it would just not be right to not have Bridgett on here, because she's really about to help me build my empire. You feel me? And so, yeah, so that's why she's here. That's who she is. She's a friend way before that, but we've really talked a lot more throughout this process. And I've really got to see up close and personal, like her heart for what she does. So without further ado, just wanted to give y'all the background, information. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Bridgett. So why don't we start by you telling the people your profession, your educational background, and then kind of like we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I want to first say hi, Auntie. I want to say hi, Auntie.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I yes, I'm Bridgett Belsky, and I have a degree in business with an emphasis in organizational leadership. And so I got it from Rockhurst University. I would be remiss if I didn't say shout out to my mules, CMSU. I started out there. Sorry I had to transfer, but I do love y'all mules, okay? But I transferred to Rockhurst and I did attain my degree from there. I'm the founder of Room for Roots. I do also work full-time in sales, and I have for quite some time. It's what I do. I love it. And so I have merged the two. Hi, Toy. Yeah. So that's basically my background. That's my educational background. And my profession is wholeheartedly into Room for Roots, the whole foundation.
All right. So what is Room for Roots? I mean, I know, of course, but what is it? And how long has it been going? And then what made you even get started with it?
So Room for Roots is a 501c3, and our core purpose is to transform the lives of individuals and communities for generations to come through economic development of underserved and at-risk women and girls of color. Hands down. That's our heart. Our flagship program is Priscilla's Way. And as you spoke about earlier, it is a strategic, step-by-step, 9-week program that really takes you through the foundations of financial literacy and the fundamentals of being a business owner. And we believe that that's how we are going to balance the scales of racial and economic injustice in our communities.
Yes, that part.
That part.
Right. So how long has it been? Okay, let's do this. When did you decide you wanted to do it? Because I always love hearing the journey, and I don't think I've actually asked you this part. So when did you decide there is this need that I need to fill in Omaha, Nebraska? And then what was the process like for you from there to start, and how long you've been going?
Okay, so I need to say that when I worked, when I lived in Kansas City, shout out to KC, when I lived in Kansas City, I always had a heart for philanthropy. And in the beginning, I would serve organizations that also had a heart to help women.
Hey.
Hey, mama. It did tend to be towards women in domestic violence, which I had a heart for that as well. But then I did start a grassroots organization in Kansas City that was more focused on underserved women and kids. So I did a lot of work in homeless shelters and community centers. That whole area, my KC people, y'all know that Troost area and Prospect. Shout out to those people. Got to have heart and strength to live there. I would help those kids in that area and those women in that area. And when I moved to Omaha, because the hubby needed me to move to Omaha. When I moved to Omaha, I found a church home, and I continued to serve in the lanes that they provided to serve with women and children, at-risk people. And I did that, and I appreciated it. But I found that there was this common theme with people when they decide that they want to help underserved. And typically it has to do with more temporary resources. And so not that we don't need temporary resources for those that are hurting. I mean, we need clothes drives, we need food drives, we need people willing to go down and serve. We need people, willing to give a smiling face and to do those things. But, there's one thing when I want to give you a fish, but there's a whole nother heart if I want to teach you how to fish. Right.
Yes,
and that is really important to me, because I feel like that's the one thing that's withheld from our community is knowledge. And we all know that knowledge is power. And so, yes, you feel comfortable dropping something off, but you don't feel comfortable investing, truly creating an investment in that community. You want to check. And I don't want to bash, because I know that's something that some people are just not cut for it. They're not built for it. That's what they can do. They don't have the heart for it. And maybe that's all that God put on their heart to do. But for me, he laid something way more on me. It was a burden. And it was so much of a burden that I couldn't stop talking about it. And I couldn't stop, it just was a constant conversation, and it almost was like me complaining in a sense. And I just felt like God was saying, well, what are you going to do about it? And I remember in 2018, I was sitting at a coffee house, and I was sitting across from a girlfriend, and I was talking about this whole situation. Like, I was just upset about it. I could talk about the political stuff. I could talk about, the economic issues, and it all came back to the same thing: women and girls of color and their needs and their unmet needs. And 1 year later, I found myself sitting in the same coffee shop, saying the same thing to the same person in the same seat.
Wow.
And I got angry at myself, and I felt like God was telling me, so what are you going to do about it? Are you serious? Are you serious? And I said, no more, no more am I going to talk about this thing. And I pulled out my little notebook that I had, my little journal that I carried in my handbag. You know, us women, we can carry a whole bunch of stuff in a handbag.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I had pulled it out, and I just began to write. And I told myself from that moment forward that I was not going to sit on this passion that's burning in my heart that God put there. And so I just started with a mission statement. And then I went to a vision. I just wrote down what it is that I wanted to do, what it is I wanted to see done. And then I just started putting these things into a plan and talking about the different programs and writing down the different programs. And I literally, when I say writing my vision, people have a statement, but I wrote my vision. And then I decided, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, then it needs to be a nonprofit. I decided what type of structure to do it in. And then I did my homework and I started it. And in 2019, we received our 501c3 designation. And I couldn't be prouder of the work that is done. It's so fulfilling. It's, you know, I know that I know that what we do offers long-term impact. And that's what I'm trying to do. Change people's lives for generations to come. Our tagline is discipleship with generational impact. So I want to give people the knowledge that will not only change their lives, but their children's lives and their children's children's lives, because that kind of stuff doesn't get passed down to us, right? Very, very few, you know, that financial literacy piece and component, you know, I can go on and on, but like, you know, there's no stock, there's no mutual fund sitting up for people, you know. We've learned about some 529s, but you know, when you're too busy trying to help the extended family, it's hard to, you know, really build into your future. And so, or if you're busy trying to still put food on the table for those around you, it's hard to build into your future. And so, but there's some knowledge that we can give to help. There's tools and there's resources and there's skill sets and there's mindsets we can teach about to help get people to that place where not only are they able to provide for themselves and be successful in their own lives, but they can pass that information down and they can catch the next generation before they fall into the same traps.
What I love, I want to just step in real quick. What I love about you, and this is what I've noticed in this journey for me, because it started off me just kind of like, well, I don't want to just start this brand. Like, this is how I'm launching a brand. I'm very secretive about it because I got to get it trademarked, but it is a brand that is about just promoting how dope Black women and Black men are. So you'll know when it comes out or whatever. But it started with me just wanting to launch a brand. And then I'm like, well, I don't want to just launch a brand. Like, I work in the social work field. I have for the past 10 years. And so the work that I'm going to be doing as a consultant is the same thing I've been doing in the social work field, but just I'll be making more money doing it in a different industry.
You'll be
But the reason why I say all that is this started off as me just kind of like, oh, this is an idea, like, and yeah, I know I could do it. But the more I'm around you, one thing about Bridgett is that, and you've always been like this, all the talks we've had, even in youth ministry and when I was going through, is Bridgett is going to make you believe in yourself. Like, she's going to believe in you just off of a crumb of something you said. I jokingly said, I'm trying to build an empire like 2 or 3 months ago, but she took that and she reminds me of it every time we have our one-on-ones, to where now I believe that I can have an empire. And so that's what I love about, like, one, I know it's authentic because you can just hear the passion as you're talking. You can tell that you are so serious. I didn't even realize all the work you had done prior to this in Kansas City, because we've never really talked about that. But you are just very encouraging, but it's not from a fake place. Like, let's not just sugarcoat it. It's from you really see something that I or whoever else gets to be in your presence doesn't see. but then your words have power to where you make a person believe they can do things that they didn't think they could do. Like when I was telling you, I don't think I could write this business plan. You're like, you can do it. It's already there. Like, and not in a condescending way or anything like that. It's just very loving and very just warm. And that's what I just love. And I love you tried to be kind, but this is my show, so I'll take the heat on what I'm about to say because I don't care. It's true. Like I said, I've been in social work field. I've been a part of nonprofits. I've even been a part of different churches. And I'll say not the church that I currently go to. That way, if any of them are watching, I ain't talking about my current church, but I've been a part of places where it is such a, we want to have this event and we want to give food and we want to do this and we want to do that. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with that. But where I struggle is where, and I said it when I was at your house, I like to call it poverty pimping, where you get into this, we are great because we're doing this, because we took these poor little people in the ghetto and we did this for them. And I struggle with that because first of all, you're assuming that you know the answer. You know, you're assuming that your way is the way that it's supposed to be. But also it's very condescending to assume some of the things that are assumed, to assume that just because someone lives in a certain area of town by circumstance, that it's automatically this certain way, like, oh, they weren't going to graduate until they became a part of the program. How do you know that? A lot of people see the program as maybe just you giving away free stuff, but then when you just do that, you don't equip them to be able to sustain that. And you keep the cycle going of them continuing to need this and continuing to need that. And so that's what I love about what you're doing for my family. My kids are getting to see this, is that I'm going to get to a place where I'm no longer going to be in the cycle of having a bachelor's degree, working in a field for 10 years, but still struggling because it's the social work field. And that's just unfortunately the way that it's set up.
I want people to feel empowered, and I want them to operate in that empowerment from their core. And when I see people that have all these God-given talents, because we all have them, but they don't have the confidence that they need to move forward into that, I am going to pull that out. And sometimes there's real challenges. You know, I've had people in the course that have a, 7th grade reading level or an 11th grade reading level. But that doesn't mean they can't run a business. They just need the skill. They just need the mentorship. They just need someone to believe in them. They just need someone to show them the way, and they can be just as successful. And they are being just as successful. They have a desire to accomplish things. They don't want to suffer. And so I have a wide variety. I have very educated people, and then I have people that come into the program that have very little education. I've had young girls come in as young as 12, and I've had older women come in as old as 50. The program is set up so that nobody just gets lost in the way. It's very strategic. It's not a class people just sit in and they go, No, it's engaging. They're going to do the homework. We have one-on-ones, but it's not so overwhelming that you can't go to your daytime job. All these classes are virtual. And like I said, I don't believe in busy work, and I don't believe in a waste of time, because I don't have time to waste. That's the one thing I can't get back. So when I invest that in people, my return on investment that I'm looking for is your success. Hands down. That when you turn around, you are saying, wow, I'm so glad that I did that, because I myself have grown. Me personally, I don't need any kudos for that. It's something that I just get joy from seeing other people succeed. I really truly do, especially our people, because no one deserves it more than our Black women. They built this country. They birthed this country. And they deserve success. They deserve a piece of the pie. And I want to do everything that I can to make sure that they get it. whatever's in my power. And so that's the reason why our program is called the Priscilla's Way Economic Development, Empowerment, and Entrepreneurship Program. It's long, but it has meaning, and it does every single thing in the name. And if y'all don't like it, y'all can create a nickname for it, but it is what it is. It empowers you, and you will be an entrepreneur at the end.
Now, the financial literacy part of it was interesting because I've taught financial literacy as part of my job. Like I said, I work in the social work field. So you have a lot of knowledge, but to learn, especially in Omaha, to learn the history behind the why don't you talk a little bit about that? Just because while we're here and while we're, you know what I'm saying, let's go ahead and get out the car and park a little bit and just unpack that, because I feel like there are so many people that try to deny that that's even real. And it's not like I ever denied it, but when you see like the facts and you see the actual information, it's very eye-opening, but it's also very frustrating, because then you have those, well, all you got to do is this and all you got to do is that, people that are privileged, and that's not the reality for everybody.
Absolutely. And so what Tam is talking about here is our program is divided into 3 components, 3 modules. So every 3 weeks we switch to the next. It develops into the next thing. So the first module is financial literacy. Important. It's very important. And although it's a fun and engaging class, and it does challenge you to your core, you don't really expect to get what you get during the first session. That first day, it slaps you into reality, because I bring in the all of the background on why there is a generational wealth gap. I go all the way back to the beginning of our existence here. And then I talk about Jim Crow, and I talk about, redlining. I talk about land ownership, how our land was taken from us, and different things like that. And I really go in and walk you through all the things that make it so that we're so behind and we're playing catch up constantly. For us to be having $5 versus them having $1,000 or $10,000, it's just not right. And so I want to make sure that people understand where that comes from. So the first part of the class, it really puts the gravity into why you're there. And by the time you finish that first course, the first part of the course, you are you're really revved up. You're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. This is what happened, So that's the very first part. But I do really get into the generational wealth gap and how it affects our healthcare, and how it affects why do we get paid less, and pennies on the dollar. And I talk about even things like, how it puts us into the criminal justice system over really silly stuff, like the narrative would be that Black people or Black men, go to jail for drugs and things like that, or they get into the system for stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is, the real situation is that oftentimes it's really silly stuff. Like, I went and I bought a car and I had $800. So I bought me a car for $750, and then I filled it up with gas. But then I realized that I needed to get my tags, and I didn't have the money to get my tags and get my car registered and get the insurance. So I tried to hold off a little bit until I could get the money. But before I could get the money to get that stuff, my temporary tags expired. I got pulled over by the police, and then my car got taken from me, or I got put in jail that day, or, there's all these different things that happen. That's all based on finances. It's all based on money. It's all based on that and lack of, and the knowledge aspect. And so that first part is really about understanding the generational wealth gap, owning it, right? Knowing that, yes, it's there. We didn't do anything to get in that, but we're in it. So what are we going to do to get out? And they have to absolutely be able to create a realistic budget for their lives. And they got to show it to me. And I make sure that they can do it. I walk them through it. I make sure they understand it and how to pivot on their budget and to give it that budget time and to think about everything that they could possibly need. I have seen people come out of that part of the course like, wow, I didn't realize I could do that. I didn't realize I can set goals for myself with what I have. I don't care if all you have is $5. We are going to budget the mess out of that $5. Because let me tell you something. If you can't budget your own personal finances, you cannot budget a business. So we have to get people to a point where they understand the power of their dollar and they designate every single cent to go where it needs to go so that it brings them a better return on investment.
Thanks for coming through.
Thanks, Brad.
I wanna back up a little bit. It's so funny because I was gonna do something else with this experience, but I'm actually gonna go this route with it. I love that you created a program specifically geared towards Black women and girls. And here's why. There is such a stigma and such even boldness that people have in their opinions and biases of Black women. And this is fresh and this is raw. And I was going to make a rant episode about this actually. And I told her because she could tell I was a little just whatever before we were recording. Because so prior to this, my daughters are 17 and 19. We were at the laundromat. Now we're in the laundromat. Usually when we're there, we're all on our phones. Sometimes we'll sit out in the car. But if we're in there, like, why would we be loud? We're not really loud people in social settings anyway. Thank you.
Quiet.
We're usually more quiet until I get comfortable or if I get to talking and then, I'm a storyteller and then laughing, ha, 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 whatever. But for the most part, I'm usually pretty quiet. So there's so many different staff. This is the laundromat we always go to. And so we're sitting there and I'm on my phone doing whatever. It don't matter. My daughters are on their phone. They have their headphones in, thank God. And so the lady, she's going around. I like this laundromat because there is like a staff that's there. So if I need change or if something's wrong, there's someone there to help. Everybody is generally friendly and it's all white women that work there. I've never, ever had an issue ever. So the lady walks by and she was like, "You guys are so quiet." And I started to say, well, yeah, we're pretty quiet because there's nothing wrong with that. But then she goes on to say, especially for 3 Black women, I've never seen 3 Black women that quiet. Yes, she said that. Now, whenever in real life, racist or biased, wild stuff like that is said, I always am in shock because I literally could not believe that she said that. So it's always I'm shocked. I don't say anything because I'm just kind of like in my head, like, what the hell? But yes, hell to the gnaw. But because my daughters were with me, what ended up happening is I looked because I was sitting here. So she was like closer to me when she said this. I look over to the right to see if they heard this. They are still on their phone and they didn't hear this. I never said a word. But because I turned my head, because I'm in mama mode, like, did my kids hear what this woman said? And they didn't. Then she goes on to say, so a huge pet peeve of mine, and I've talked about it on my show before, is when anyone invalidates anyone's feeling. I don't care if me and some random man, and I heard him in the store, and something happened and somebody tried to invalidate his feelings. That would piss me off just because how are you going to tell somebody how to feel, how they should feel? So then I guess she knew. I mean, obviously you knew what you said. You didn't have no damn business saying it. But because I turned my head, I think maybe that gave her some sort of reaction, or I don't know. But then she goes on to say, it was a joke, don't get offended, and then walked off. And that is my issue because, first of all, you don't know me, you don't know my daughters, but you assume that because we are three black women, what the hell do you expect us to be doing in this laundromat? Twerking, jumping around, acting the fool, whatever you saw on TV, or what? I'm like, what do you expect? I am always here, quiet, sitting in my phone. I come here usually every like Wednesday or Friday for the most part, but it's because of experiences like that. And even I remember, like I said, I have a bachelor's degree, and it's not that I like to throw that around for the sake of throwing it around, but because I laugh and I joke and whatever. Don't get it twisted. I am educated. Don't get it twisted. In a professional setting, I teach job readiness skills and all that stuff. I was a social worker, but now I audit the work of social workers and train them. So like, there are many different sides to me, but I feel like people try to put us in this box. Mm-hmm. So me running this empire that I'm finna be running, finna be running this empire, you know what I'm saying? But also still educated and I write, but they put us in these boxes. And that's why the brand that I'm starting is specific. It'll, gear towards black men, but black women first, because as a black woman, there are experiences that I've had. There are experiences that my daughter's had where when I was in college, or I might have already graduated, somebody told my daughters that black people don't get degrees. But that's why my cousin was magna cum laude, you know what I'm saying, that just graduated on Friday, shout out to her black self. But, we don't get degrees. It's the stuff like that people have the audacity to say out loud, yes, I am claiming it. That is why I love that you specifically are gearing this program for us. You know what I'm saying? From a place of not trying to tear anybody else down either. I know that's not what you're doing.
Right.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. There's more and more black women becoming entrepreneurs. And I think that it's fantastic, and we need more, because out of all of the female women firms and business owners in the United States, women of color, specifically African-American women, only own about 21% of those businesses. So that's a very small slice of the pie, and they earn 20% less revenue than those other women-owned businesses. And so I firmly believe that if we can sit up and manage your businesses, if we can train your people, if we can run your businesses, we can for sure own our own businesses.
And do it better in some cases.
And keep the change.
And fill in the things that we see are lacking in the places where we are supervisors and trainers, etc. Fill in the gaps of thoroughly communicating things, over communicating things, because we see such a lack in the way things are communicated, trained, expectations, etc.
Let me tell you this, Tam. Research shows that when women increase their wealth, they raise their entire family up, right? They raise their entire family. So the median income for women of micro businesses, so you don't, you're going to have an empire for sure, but some people just want to run their own business and do what they want to do and do what they want to do. But the median income for those that have micro businesses is actually higher than those. And micro businesses and employees of micro businesses actually have increased wealth and more income than those that work for others. And it trickles down to their children. So they tend to have more time to spend with their children. They tend to be able to help their children get into college more and better. And so there's this overall trickle down effect. And so we can't overlook the fact that we can do this. You know, we don't have to only work for other people. Being empire owners and business owners, that's our lane too. I mean, if we can build a nation, if we can birth a nation, we can run a business, right? We can own it and run it.
And my daughter got a full ride scholarship to college.
Yes.
Ma'am, miss, she supposed to be all loud. Like, that just,
you know what? That's all right. You know, we're gonna pray for her.
Yeah, she needs something because it's the audacity. It's the part where you say some wild stuff and then say, I'm just joking. I don't know you, ma'am. And if you think I'm that loud black woman that you think I am, you better be glad I'm not out here and didn't just punch you in your face, because how dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like, don't try to be about that life if you're really not about what could really come from that.
You know, Tam, and it trickles over in the business world as well. So she had the audacity to say that to you, but she's probably not the first one that thought that of you. Okay. And it's the same thing when we run our businesses or when we own businesses. There's already these preconceived notions about what it is like doing business with a black person. What is it like doing business with a black woman? They have these preconceived notions. And it's up to us to do what we do with excellence, but we don't have to carry the burden of trying to break their mold and their that's on them. And so the more empowered and financially we are, the more we can turn our dollars over in our communities, right? So right now in Black communities, the dollar's only turned over like once between us. When it used to be, it would get turned over 10, 20, 30 times before it left our communities. And we have to get back to a place where we're able to do that if we're going to really change the direction of this generational wealth gap.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And so with that, I'm going to flip this a little bit how I sent it to you. Okay. So business owners, I know there are potentially people watching who maybe they can't join the program for, you know, whatever, they don't live here or whatever, which we'll get more into ways that you can either join the program and or if you are somebody who believes in what she's saying and you can sow into this financially. That's why I have her on here too, because even before I was a, beneficiary of what she does, I believed in what she does just because of what it is. Like, it's important. But now that I've gone through the program and see how she does it, yes, I had to write a budget. Yes, I had to write a mission and a vision statement. Yes, I had to write my own business plan. And yes, she would have me read it to her and advise me, but she didn't do it for me. She said, this is what you need to add. And then we scheduled another day to meet. I had to look up market research. That was the part, y'all, that had me crying. But that was the part by her challenging me to do something that I don't move like this. I dive in and figure it out as I go and then document my process. You know what I'm saying? But it let me know that, man, doing what I'm doing now in a different industry, I can be doing so much better financially, still doing the same work that's meaningful to me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was set up for me to believe that I had, in order for me to do meaningful work, it had, you know, passion pay or whatever they say, where it's like, yes, I'm happy because I'm doing work that means something to me, but that don't mean I can be doing well financially. That's a lie. And I learned that because of the market analysis and seeing how much people charge way more than I make an hour now. And that would even just be if I was to work for somebody else in someone else's firm. But there are people listening, watching, I should say, that maybe want to start a business. And so, first of all, why is it important? We're going to kind of take this together because you're going to say it from the expert side and I'm going to say it from my side of what I learned in the program. Why is it important to have a solid foundation for your business versus just diving in as most do?
Okay. So it's important to have a solid foundation because you don't want to just survive, but you want your business to thrive. And that's really important. You don't want to just dive right in. And then once you get in, you realize there's so many steps that you should have already taken, or you're financially, invested in this thing. And now you're like, shoot, I spent this money doing this when I should have been spending that money doing that. Right. And so you want to have a solid foundation so your business can survive and so your business can thrive and so that you're doing things the right way. And you want to take into account the fact that investors want to know that you did things the right way. Rather, even if you don't need investors, thank you, April.
Thank you.
Yes, I appreciate you so much. But even if you're going to run a business where you don't have investors, but you may need someone to invest in a different way other than financially, people don't want to invest their resources, their time, their energy into something that hasn't been built up solidly from the beginning during the startup phase, because they don't want to waste their time and their money and their energy. Their advice, and so it's very, very, very important to do that so that not only do you know that you're ready, but other people know that your business is ready as well.
So from my side of things, I will echo, co-sign all that, but also even little things like so many people just start an LLC. Like that is I never heard of any of the other stuff I learned about in this program. Now, granted, I probably could have researched it, but I always just hear people talking about they're going to start an LLC. And I remember talking to a friend of mine she's a therapist, has her own practice and is doing other things. And I was telling her how, I'm about to start this program and I'm starting a business and I'm going to start an LLC. And she was the one who told me, no, for what you want to do, I think you should go S Corp. Never heard of that because of these reasons. And so I was like, okay, I'll keep that in the back of my mind. She was like, I wish I had a program that I could have went through because there's so much stuff that I'm having to learn that I wish I knew ahead of time that I learned in this program. So when we learned about the different corporations and she broke it down and explained what each one was. And then also she'll bring professionals in for each module to also answer questions. Then I was able to learn that S Corp is going to be what's best for me for my goals. And so there's that. There's also, as she was talking about investors, you need to have a business plan to show your investors. And I have a business plan. So if I want to get people to sow into it, mainly because that way the amount of time of me I still work a full-time job and podcast and blog and got children. So I'm doing a lot of things right now. But if I want the time of overlap of me working a full-time job and running a business, because I'm very fortunate that I've been in my field. People believe in what I do. I have work waiting for me. I just have to get my service documents set up and then I can go, but I also got to have time. So if I want to have investors maybe to say, hey, if you want to invest this, to where I could even just get up bill money, you know what I'm saying, before I get going. I don't got to be rich, but at least enough money to cover my bills. Then the overlap is smaller. But if you don't have a business plan and I'm just like, hey, I'm about to start this business, and they're like, well, what are you going to do? Even me just saying professional development and coaching, which it wasn't that before. It was something else until I started doing the market analysis and learning the language of what they speak in this industry. Even me saying that isn't enough. But in my business plan, it has the services I'm offering. It has the pricing and all that. Somebody needs to see that if they're going to help you. Now, you maybe don't have to go through a program to run a business, but my point in saying that is just you got to have a solid foundation to stand on for whatever you're going to do, because you're going to be that much more successful. But then I also have a mentor. So when I have questions or I come across stuff that I don't know about, but I know she know, or if she don't know, she knows somebody who know, and she could put me in touch with somebody who know, because I get access to what she know and her resources. That is what was the benefit for me. I could have, filled out the paperwork myself, but it's the knowledge that she has that I need, that she shares so freely. And that's the thing. And I didn't pay anything to be in this program. That's the thing too. Now, what are what's well, what's four pieces, but we'll start with just at least one. The first piece of advice that you have for someone who is thinking about starting a business, but they don't live here, or they, can't join the program.
Okay. So first of all, anybody can join this program.
Even
if they live out of state, they can still join the program. It's just a matter of what is that going to look like as far as costs for that person, because this is geared for underserved and at-risk women and girls. And so when you go in to secure a spot, there's an application that they fill out. And so if you fall under that category of low income to moderate income, then you receive the scholarship to enter the program, and it is no cost to you. If you don't have if you make more money, if you make a good amount of money, but you really just want to know the information, then the program is at cost. You fill out the application, and we will talk about all of that. And I send you the information, and you get all the details and all of that. And then the program is set up 9 weeks. The first one is the financial literacy. The second module is business structures, that you talked about, how you were saying you learned all those business structures and you knew which one was the right one for you after that. And then the third one is the business management, and making sure that we have a proper plan and for sales, marketing, promotion, and the actual business plan itself. But the four things that I would say is to make sure that you have a strong, solid understanding of financial literacy. See, a lot of us have learned how to make money, right? But we haven't learned how to manage our money. We've learned how to make the ends meet. But one little thing happened and somebody came and moved your ends. And then, all of a sudden you're in trouble again. And so understanding and have a solid foundation of financial literacy will help you be in a position where you feel solid. And believe it or not, it's going to help you be able to manage your business finances. You can't do one without the other. The same mistakes that you make in your personal finances, you're going to make in your business finances. So you have to have a strong understanding of that. And that's the first thing that I would say is very important. You want me to go on?
Second, go ahead. I ain't even going to add to it.
So the second is do your homework on your concept. Right? Nobody needs to create a business on a concept that nobody wants, or there's no demand for it. There's a such thing as supply and demand. So you need to do not only your market research, but your target audience research. Make sure that whatever business you're going into is something that you're going to get your return on investment in, and that's really important. And looking at the trends, right? And so just have somebody show you how to do that if you don't know how to do that. Okay.
Let me piggyback on this part. So for those of y'all that saw me do my little survey out there, thank y'all, because y'all were helping me. It was homework, but it was homework for me to understand, is there a demand for the services that I wanted to offer in my business, which there was. There even was a demand for things that I was kind of thinking about getting into, but wasn't really sure. Then on top of that, when she had me look at what the trends are in consulting, and also I had to write out how am I going to meet the demands of the trends. What I learned is through podcasting, I've learned to master doing things virtually. Every guest that's ever been on my show has been virtually just like this. And with the pandemic and all that, we're moving more towards a virtual world. And so it just really showed me that I am very equipped already. Like, this isn't something I have to figure out on how to do things virtually. I've already been doing things, even with podcasting, like scheduling things. And because I have a Calendly now, I don't give it to people that I talk to on a regular basis. I just schedule it because I want it to be personal. But I recently had a promoter, so random. I didn't ask how he found me because whatever, I have my website up there. So, but I had a promoter reach out to me and he was like, hey, these are the people that I have that are my clients, and I'm looking for basically podcasts for them to be on. Are you interested in any of those? And I looked at who they had, and I am going to have someone on, so you'll see that episode later. Yeah, that was really cool. But what that taught me is how to schedule things professionally, and that's what made me get the Calendly account, put my availability in there. That way you can pick what's best for you without me texting a whole bunch of times or emailing back and forth, and then it just puts it on my calendar. So stuff like that will also be beneficial in my business as well, because once I have a consultation, it'll be, here's my link for that, schedule our consultation, and I can have the address and everything on there. But had I not known the trends and done my research as she made me do, I wouldn't know that. So yes, definitely on number 2. Yes.
And the thing is, it can sound overwhelming, but we're really doing all of this stuff step by step, strategically. Each week, you're doing something that is a key component to what you're going to need at the end of the class. So I really break it down so that you're doing the important things, because not everybody has time to go to school and get a business degree. Not everybody has the finances to do that. If you want to run a business, you can own and run and manage your business and be successful. And this program is set out to literally give you the nuts and bolts of what you need, help you to create a solid foundation so that you're not stumbling over yourself after you've already started the business. You can have a really smooth startup. The third thing I would say is establish your proper business structure. Tamara, you were talking about that earlier, how you were thinking one business structure, and then after you went through the business development part of the class, and we went through all of the structures that were relevant, you were like, oh, well, that's not what I need. This is what really makes sense with my business. And so you want to make sure that the business structure that you choose matches your business concept. It has to and not just your concept, but how you're going to run your business. How are you going to be filing taxes? You know, all of these different things. It's really important to pay attention to all of that stuff and make good choices in the beginning based on that. You don't want to go back and have to transfer or switch and change your business structure. It's a pain, and it's more money that you have to spend, more time that you have to spend, and it shouldn't really be done unless you've grown to a place where you need to make some amends. But if you do it right the first time, you're going to be all right. So make sure that you establish the proper business structure for your company. And then the fourth thing I would say is have a solid business plan before you start. So just knowing what your mission is. I mean, truly knowing what your mission is, not just your mission statement and your vision statement, right? All that stuff can go into your business plan, but like, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you want to accomplish? How do you want your customers to feel? What do you want your customers to walk away from after they interact with you in your business? How do you want to change people who offer you, who patron your business? How do you want to change their lives? Like, what is the point? What is the point of your business? Right? Like really understanding that, and then creating a plan on how you're going to manage your business, run your business, sell your products and services, market your products and services. What does the market say? And based on what the market is saying and the trends that are there, how are you going to run your business based on that? How are you going to come obstacles? How are you going to overcome the challenges that lay ahead? Being very specific about that is really, really important. The more thorough your business plan is, the better off you're going to be, because what you'll have is the skeletons for your business. It's not saying that you can't change your business plan or it won't evolve based on your growth. You know, especially if you hit certain key, if you hit certain key milestones in your business plan, you're going to add to it. It's going to change. It's going to grow. It's going to evolve. But when you create your startup business, you really want that business plan to reflect what you're going to be doing over the next 5 years. And the more solid that business plan is, it also lets people know that you're ready and open for business. Your investors would be like, oh, they have a plan. Oh, they have a budget. Oh, they have their prices. Oh, they know how they're going to sell. Oh, they know what, and so we talk about marketing concepts and all that kind of stuff. And so have a solid business plan before you start. Don't just get in there. Now I will say this. Some people are just really good at sales, right? They can sell, ice to an Eskimo. Remember they used to say stuff like that? Some people are just good at that. But that's very temporary, and that will catch up with you if you don't have a plan. Because the times are not always going to be as such where you can get away with that. So you have to have a plan in times of when things are going good and when things are going kind of flat. You have to have something that you stick to be consistent, to ride the wave of that, right? And so it's just like investing in a mutual fund. You don't invest in a mutual fund because you want to cash out the money next week. You invest in it because you need to ride the wave of that mutual fund until it becomes as profitable as possible, and until that time that you need it and it makes sense for you to cash out or reinvest in something else or switch over or whatever. So your business plan helps you ride the wave. Your business plan helps you set and attain goals. So it's really important, really important. Thank you for that comment. But yes, so it's really important. And I would say to make sure that you do that. So those 4 things, just to recap, is just get a strong understanding of financial literacy, do your homework on your concept, establish a proper business structure for your company, for your products and services, and have a solid business plan.
I want to piggyback off the business plan. I'm just, y'all, so proud that I have this business plan that I wrote. That
you did a good job.
Yes, I had help and I had template, and I did a lot of research and all this stuff, but I did that. But what it did for me, and this is what she told me, is that ultimately it's really guiding my next steps. Like, it lets me know that, okay, now that I know these are the services that I offer, okay, now what does that look like? So it's like, yes, I have the skeleton, as she said, but now it's filling in the meat, the bone, or the skin, the hair, the clothes, and all that. And it really is a guideline for my next steps. That's why I haven't launched yet, though I do have coming soon on my website and all that, and I'm starting to talk about it more because it's more real once I finish that business plan, because it's like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. When people ask me, oh, you're starting a consulting company, what are you going to be doing? I have the language for it, which is important, so that people, even just saying I'm starting a consulting company versus me before just saying I'm starting a business, it's the same thing. I am starting a business, but it's the language, and it just really taught me how to transfer what I've been doing into the language of the industry that I've been going into. And so and then I got to make the service documents. So there's a lot of work to be done just to prep. But what I know is, once I start going, I have to already be ready. Like in every other thing, I could dive in and figure it out, and that was fine. But when you start to elevate and you start to try to do different things, the cliche saying, if you want something you've never had, you got to do what you've never done. This is what I've never done. I don't plan ahead and write it out and write the vision and make it plain and all these things. I don't do that. I just dive in. And so because I have this business plan, though, it's kind of like this, okay, now for this service, what all is needed, so that when a person comes into my office to meet with me, what is that going to look like? That needs to already be figured out, because if someone is paying me for a service, and this is where the solid foundation comes in with professionalism, with good customer service, because you can't have somebody where I want people to support me, and when they come and they're like, okay, well, I want to do job readiness skills, that's one of the services I'm focusing on, I don't know how to do that, and we're just sitting there looking stupid, and they done paid X amount of money for a package, feeling like they wasted their time. And then let's factor in, I've built up a career for 10 years of doing things with excellence and getting promotions and all that. And then all that is looking crazy when I'm out on my own. No. So that's why I got to do the work ahead of time, because I think that's a lot of times why people will not want to support people, because customer service is not on point, or you're not professional, and all of those things matters. I don't care if you do nails, hair. One thing about my nail, shout out to Jamie, shout out to Reese, I don't know if y'all watching, but that's my hair and nail ladies. I love them. I am loyal. Once I stick with somebody, I had a nail tech before, Eva, shout out to her, but she moved, so I had to find somebody new. But the whole point is, I'm loyal as long as you are professional. Talent don't mean nothing if I come up in there and you're unprofessional. It just, to me, it doesn't. And so my daughters get their hair done by my hair person. They were going to my nail person until they couldn't, because she had to change her schedule. And now I'm like, I just want to go by myself, because that's me time. So y'all gonna have to figure it out. But if you are unprofessional, it doesn't matter what you do. Like, speaking of professional, this lady right here, she sells shirts. I have bought multiple shirts from her. Let's put her out there. Y'all hit her up. She's made personalized shirts where I've given her a idea of, hey, this is
Keisha?
Yes.
Hi, Keisha. All right.
But I've given her an idea of, this is what I want. This is a picture I saw on the internet. Can you make this for me? Not only is she talented, but she's professional, and we're friends. So it don't matter if it's a friend or not. You still need to be professional. Like, absolutely, when Bridgett coming on my show, I extended the same professionalism that I extend to any guest. I'm going to schedule. I'm going to send a calendar invite. I'm going to tell you this is how it's going to be. I've even gotten better with live shows of giving an outline. Shout out to Autumn for that, because when I had my first guests on my show for something, now they trust me, so shout out to them. It was a karaoke thing, but they didn't have any idea what was going on. And in that moment, I learned I need to send outlines. So you grow, you take that feedback, you don't get in your feelings, because when it comes to business or the industry and stuff like that, there has to be a level of professionalism if you want to grow. You could be talented and go so far, but that's only going to take you so far. Discipline, consistency, all that stuff. Yes, Autumn won the karaoke show, y'all. Yes. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks, Auntie.
But yeah, you have to be professional. That is so important. That's an important part of your solid foundation, for sure.
And I want to just add to that, that yes, people can take the 9-week class, but after they complete the 9-week class, it also comes with an 18-month mentorship, because I don't want you to feel like you're just being dropped off. I started this business and I still don't know what I'm doing. I still feel unsure, right? And so there's certain things that you might need access to, or you might need help with, like, creating an operating agreement and things like that. There's a lot of different things and aspects to business that you need that come up within the first year and a half. This is the reason why over 25% of businesses fail in the first year. Because that first year, there's a lot that you have to do. That's why you have to get it off the ground the right way. And so we don't just leave you hanging. If you and we prefer that you do stick with the mentorship program, so that we can help you through any issues that you may have that first year, any ups and downs. It's really important. And Sometimes it is some coaching. I've had to give some hard coaching to some people in love, of course. But as Tamara talked about, you can't just treat your constituents and your the people that patron your business any kind of way. And your business to business relationships, there's a business to business etiquette that's really important. And so in the mentorship phase, we talk about that too. And we also make sure that everything is up to par as far as your trademarking and things like that. So there's a lot of things that go down in the mentorship phase that you will want to be a part of. It's just a lot of great stuff. That if you did it on your own, you would definitely spend a ton of money doing, and you would spend a lot of time doing it. And so I just wanted to put that out there because I think it's important that we have mentors and that we network. And so that part of the mentorship part of the program that comes after the actual Priscilla's Way 9-week course really provides that extra oomph that people need.
And what I'll say with that too is, one, what I know is if you already have a business, like you're already kind of doing something, like let's say you're already selling a product and you don't have an actual business registered with the state, you still can join her program, because I know there were people in my session that had already been doing what they were doing and they joined. But then also with the mentorship is goals for me and what I have going on are tailored to me. So when we had our first one-on-one after the the first business plan session, really, she started telling me the goals that she had for me that again were things I would have never thought of because I've never run a business. Not like I've had done things where I've sold things and made money or was getting into nails and doing all this. But I'm saying having a legit business registered with the state, going to file taxes and all that. I've never done all that. So there are things that by her knowing what I already have going on, even with podcasting and tying that all into it, and then what she knows about the business, it's that part. It's the part where she knows what I don't know and she knows what I need to know, and she doesn't withhold that from us. Because I could speak for everybody, because I know everybody would say the same thing. The mentorship part really for me is why I joined. It wasn't even about, although I'm glad I did the 9 weeks, but 9 weeks go by, it's a course, it's over. Just like you said, once that's over, if I wouldn't stay engaged, things would come up and I wouldn't know what to do. Or there are just things I wouldn't know that I'm supposed to do this because I'm just out here by myself. And so that's my favorite part for me of it, is the mentorship, and also having access to the CPA, simply because when I did consulting with gang intervention, and I remember my boss like telling me like, okay, I have this tax person that you have to pay. You might want to get with her. You might want to whatever. And I ain't listening to none of what he said. It's not that he didn't tell me. It's just for whatever reason it didn't stick. And I'm paying the consequences of the way I did things the wrong way, which is why thankfully that wasn't like a business. That was just me doing whatever. So it was all just on me. But I don't want to have a business to where I'm learning hard lessons. You are going to have challenges and opportunity for growth, but I'm not trying to have my business fold because I didn't do something right. You know what I'm saying? And I just dove in and was like, oh, I'm gonna just do it raggedy, and it just is what it is. No, you gotta do things with excellence.
And I do push people to do things with excellence. I do.
So how do people I do no, we won't. We'll just stay with Priscilla's Way. No, why don't you tell them a little bit about the other program, because there are 2 programs that are a part of Room for Roots. So why don't you tell them a little bit about the other program, and then tell them how they can join Priscilla's Way or even the other program, but then also how they can financially contribute for all y'all out there with money that want to, support Black businesses. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just supporting one Black business, you supporting generations because she's sewing into other people. So yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So with Room for Roots, our flagship program is the Priscilla's Way, because we're all about the economic development, but then we're also about community support and discipleship with generational impact. And so we are a faith-based organization, and we do have a women's group, and we have a women's discipleship program. And so that program consists of several different Bible studies throughout the year that people can be a part of. We do them online. So typically online, when we do those, I have people that come in from different parts of the nation because they can just join, which is awesome. We did the Book of Ruth earlier this year. We're just wrapping up the Book of Esther. And so it's really about making women feel empowered and knowing their value. And I want women to know that there's a lot you have to offer, because some people feel like there can be some misogynistic stuff within the Christian faith, but there's really some women empowerment within the Christian faith. And so I want women to feel empowered. If you're a Christian, or if you were raised as a Christian, or if you feel like there's something that you really want to search out, or you want to know more, or you just want community with other women, this is the place for you. We just want you to know that. As far as Priscilla's Way, yes, we are a faith-based organization, but I will tell you, you can show up with a red dot on your forehead, and I will love you just the same, and I will pour into you just the same, and I will help you develop your business just the same. We have a non-discrimination policy. We do not discriminate. So we love all people. We help all people. I've even had a couple of fellas that wanted to join.
I was going to say that if you didn't.
I did. I don't talk about it as much because we, just like, it's women and girls, and women and girls of color. So our focus is women and girls of color, but we are women empowerment. And so I just want people to know that, we don't discriminate, and I want everyone to feel welcome, but this is our focus. So if you're a guy and you feel like you're low income, or, you really feel like you want this, or even if you just want to pay for the class and the mentorship, you can do that too. I'm not going to turn you away, but our goal is to make sure that over 75% of the participants in our program actually fit the qualification of being underserved, at risk women and girls of color. And that's that. And so what you can do if you want to join or be a part or get more information, please go to roomforroots.org. You'll see it right on the screen there. And you can navigate the website and learn all about us, but go to the events tab. And in the events tab, you can RSVP for either the women's small group, or you can RSVP for our upcoming fall program. For Priscilla's Way. We have 2 classes per year because they're 9 weeks long, and then there's the mentorship, and there's a lot in there. So we have 2 classes a year. We do one in the spring and one in the fall, and we're just wrapping up our spring course, and we're beginning to fill spots for our fall course, which starts at the end of August. So you have time to go in, and you can RSVP for that event. You will get an email with an application for you to fill out and get some information. We'll set up a one-on-one, and then the process starts from there. If you don't necessarily need the program, but you're very interested in giving back to an organization that helps women and girls of color that are underserved and at risk, please go to roomforroots.org. That's ROOMFORROOTS.org. Go to the Get Involved page. You can even get it from your iPhone. Click Get Involved, scroll to the bottom, click Donate, and donate whatever God put on your heart to donate. No amount is too small. I don't want to act like Bernie Sanders, but no amount is too small. Okay. It all adds up, and it all goes to help underserved women and girls of color. And I can definitely say that. So that's how you can help. We're not one of those shabby organizations where you don't know where the money is going. The money goes right into these women's lives, and we have plenty of testimonials to show it and prove it. So I thank you so much for any support that you're willing to offer us.
Yes, yes, yes. Please, for my people that who either can join because someone joined the program because I told somebody else who
They
told them,
did.
and I'm telling everyone just because I want us all to do well. Like there's room for all of us in all of our respective things. What's for us is for us. I don't care if we're all doing similar things. There are other consulting industries companies out there. Hell, there are other podcasters out there. But like I always say, there's room for all of us. And what's for me is for me. And what's for you is for you. And I tweeted that the other day because I just feel like people get into this. They want to succeed. Of course, I want to do well, but it doesn't mean that I can't pull people up with me or do whatever. Like I feel like
now, in an authentic way.
Yeah. Not in a I did this, and no, I don't usually even talk about what I do.
I was just gonna say I move in silence. I'm to the point right now with this organization that I need to get the word out, and I need to talk about the resources that are available, because we are a resource for the people. And if I don't tell people, then they won't know and they won't be able to be a part of it. Or if I can't tell people, then people won't be able to sew in. And your money is you can write that off because it is tax deductible. We are an official 501c3. We're not just a grassroots organization. We are legit. And so, every donation that you give, your donation is tax deductible. And, we have to just support one another. If I can support anybody, I am more than willing to do so. And I want people to know that there's enough for everybody to eat. There's enough for everyone to eat. And until we get that frame of mind around us so that we can start circulating our dollars, we got to start circulating our dollars. We're giving them away. We're giving them away to Tory Burch and Gucci and Coach, and we're giving them away to McDonald's and to we're giving them away to Mid-K. Come on, somebody. Can we get our own beauty supply stores to go popping? Can we, let's come on. I know we got some women out there that can design some designer handbags that are quality that I can invest into your business. And when I want a cute handbag, I can buy it from you. Shoes, clothes, everything. We have the talent within the Black community to create businesses to circulate our dollars. And we need to do that. There's no reason why we should still be struggling the way we are. We know that there is systemic racism in the house. We know that. But we can band together and we can help each other be successful and help circulate our dollars. We can do that.
And if you're watching this and you're not a person of color, you don't look like us, and you feel some type of way about what we're saying, you need to do a heart check, because you should want what we want. It shouldn't be that you feel like, well, why are they trying to sew into the Black community? You see what it is. You know what I'm saying? You see the parts of town in every town. There's the parts of town that you don't want to drive into because it doesn't look like whatever. This is not to everybody, because I know all types of people. This is if you feel some type of way about what she's saying, and even the things that we've said throughout this live, you got to check your heart, because not once did she bash or did I bash anybody. It's about uplifting and empowering the at-risk, the underserved, because that's the reality of the situation.
And when you look at the underserved and the at-risk, what you will find is many of them are Black women and girls. I mean, you just can't get around the statistics of that. I mean, you go to any city, any major city, and that's what you're going to find. Black and brown women and girls that are living in poverty and that are underserved and at risk, and they deserve every opportunity that the rest of us have and that everyone else has. We all deserve that. And so I'm glad that you brought that up, because someone could misconstrue. And I'm glad that you said that, because, that's not my heart. My heart is to help the underserved. It just so happens that in this US of A, It
Mm-hmm.
happens to be us.
Mm-hmm.
It happens to be people that look like us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that someone would get excited about it
Mm-hmm.
if they weren't a person of color, because we can only do as well as the weakest link, right? Financially.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think Black people are weak links. I think that we're strong, and there's a reason we are strong. And because we're
Mm-hmm.
strong, there's a reason why system is set up to try to hold
Mm-hmm.
you down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you would want everyone to be able to participate and contribute into the economy in a powerful way. And the only way we can do that is to recirculate that dollar within our own communities, not just getting them out.
Mm-hmm.
How would they feel, or anyone that's not a person of color feel, if every dollar they made went into another community and they were living in poverty?
Right.
You have to put the shoe on the other foot.
Yeah.
And you got to think about that. Put yourself in that place.
Yep.
Right? If you were living check to check and didn't know when the lights were going to be on, or, period. You didn't know where your next meal was going to come from, or you just didn't even know how to balance the budget because no one taught you. And not all Black people are like that. I don't want to make it sound like all Black people are like that, because we're not. Black women happen to be the one sector of the population that holds the most educational degrees. So we're not saying that, but there are systems in place set up where, like Tamara said, here I am with a degree and I can barely make it, right? And so I have to figure out a way to run a business, start a business, run a business where I'm keeping the change. So this is what we're trying to teach.
Yep. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I know you don't boast. That's why I'm boasting on you. That's why I wanted to highlight what you do, because until we had whatever conversation recently, I had not recently, but whenever that was last year, I think it was, when we really talked about what you're doing, that you had been doing. That's the thing. And in all the conversations that we had when you were doing this, but you were more focused on what I was going through at that time. And it's like, you're not boastful, you're not whatever, but I'm just so for what you're doing, because I believe it really can make an impact. It can change not only just financially, but change mindsets, because the more we interact, the more my mind changes about what I believe I can do, that really it's already in me. Because I always say everything is already in you to do whatever you were created to do. You might need some training, you might need a little education, but everything else is already in you. I am wired that when things are not professional, when there is not good customer service, when there are not standard operating procedures in place to tell people how to do their job, that stuff drives me crazy, because it's like, how can people know the expectation? All of these things that I've been doing for the past over a decade, now it's going to be like, okay, ma'am, now I see, because it's like I've been being prepared for this. So whoever, whatever, because y'all know I got to encourage y'all. These are the ways that I'm trying to grow, but I'm always encouraging y'all to grow in the same ways too, because I want all of us to be healthy and thriving, not just me. But I also share my struggles and tell y'all how I was crying and didn't even think I could do it, because I don't want you to think that it's just this, like, there are choices I have to make. Like, my life is very, very, very structured right now. It is very much, whatever I'm doing has to be, I'm working towards my goal. Even my Snatch 40s journey that I'm on and working out. But now that means I got to get up early in the morning. Why? Because my evenings have to be free to write all these documents. So it's all about prioritizing my time too. Consistency and having that accountability to someone who I knew I had to write my business plan, because when we met, I wasn't finna come back to her with it not written. You know what I'm saying? So it's like having that accountability, having all of that. If you feel like you want to start a business, I highly, 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 if you fit into, just go to the website, check it out, see if you meets qualifications and all that, because you will get way, like, we're telling y'all a lot, but I'm also leaving a lot out because I'm not going to put everything out there, because you need to go through the program and like really do the work and get it yourself, or do the research, because what do you say, have skin in the game or buy-in or whatever, like a sense of ownership that I haven't had because I've done the work even thus far. You know what I'm saying? And there's still work to do, but I feel like I could do anything because I keep doing things I didn't think I could do. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Definitely glad you were able to come on and, you know, all that good stuff. So besides roomforroots.org, where else can the people find you? What are your social media handles on Twitter and Instagram? Because you are on there.
Mm-hmm.
She need to get some more followers.
I do.
She need to get more followers.
That was the one thing Tamara helped me out. I was growing into marriage. She was like, look, you're doing a lot of work. You need some social media presence. And so I was like, you're right. I do need some social media presence. And so
it is Twitter is my favorite way to network.
It is Instagram a whole other world.
It is, but it's so easy to be seen and for people to see you and retweet and all these things. It's just such an easy platform. But yes,
all of my social medias are the 4 roots. That's it.
Yep.
It's instead of room 4 roots spelled out, it's room 4 roots. So you can find me there on Twitter. You can find my YouTube page on Room for Roots. And it's all one word, no space. You can find the same thing on Facebook. Our page is Room for Roots, and the same with Instagram, Room for Roots. So
yeah, and she even puts out Financial Fridays videos. On, you do it on Twitter too, right?
I do.
So she puts it out where she puts something like financial wisdom on Fridays, and she
try to keep them short. I try to keep them short, between 45 seconds and I think the longest one is maybe 1 minute and 42 seconds. And then I learned that I was going to have to. Instagram was like, we're going to put you on the Instagram TV. And I was like, oh, man. So I try to keep them under 60 seconds. So they're really short snippets, and they're really worth listening to, and hopefully they'll inspire you.
And the thing about it is, yes, they are faith-based. She is a faith-based organization, but there is truth regardless. Like, the Bible is to be applied practically. The way I live my life, of course, I'm not perfect. We know that, but it is based on being loving, being whatever. And so definitely follow her. She has very encouraging content. But then Financial Fridays, we all trying to be financially good. Like, nobody wants to be out here struggling. My car broke down not too long ago, and that paycheck to paycheck, like, it was on some, I might not have a car for a little while just because, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, I'm trying to not have that. I was blessed to be able to get a vacation because my cousin graduated that I didn't pay for, cabin overlooking the lake. All my favorite things were going on, but I'm trying to have that lifestyle. Like, that's the life I want to live. Then I went to her house on Sunday to her daughter's graduation, living the blessed and bougie life, and her charcuterie board. And I'm like, I love cheese and I love meats and crackers and all these things. But it's like, when you work hard, I now understand that whole work hard, play hard mentality that I see a lot of, because it's like, when you work hard, life feels very blah if all you do is work and work and work and work and work. So yeah, that is definitely what I feel like is going to happen as a result of being in the program. So again, go to roomforroots.org, check her out. So in financially, my people who know me, because I know that people watch my lives that I don't even know if y'all listen to my podcast, but I have some same people that are like, I knew y'all before podcasting that watch my lives. Y'all know I don't just vouch for raggedy people. Let's just call it what it is. If I vouch for someone, I vouch for them. And I always say it like that because people know I'm not raggedy. So your money is going to good use. You can go to my website. You can see that I have stuff popping. You're going to see my brand launch here soon. So yes, you definitely should go to her website, roomforroots.org. Yes. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here pretty soon. The next thing I want to tell y'all about. So I don't know when you came in. If you don't know who I am, I'm Tamara. I host a show called Tamara to the Break It On. It's a podcast that is on all major podcast platforms, and I have a YouTube page as well, Tamara to the Break It On. If you go to my website, tamarathedon.com, you can access everything, my blog, my YouTube page. If you want to get some merchandise, if you want to support me, you know what I'm saying, financially, you can do that. But no, support her financially. But if you want to listen to my podcast, my YouTube and all that, you can get that. I have new episode drops every Thursday. So I got a new episode coming out tomorrow. I talk about my life, the ways I'm trying to grow, mainly emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, in my relationships, but then also just life. So I'm starting a business. So I'm talking about the journey of that and my snatched 40s journey, which is my workout journey. I'm out here doing this insanity workout. But with that, in the audience are my pod sisters. So 5 of us, myself, Jay, Autumn, Chris, and Audrey, we do the podcast Happy Hour once a month. And basically we're 5 solo podcasts, 5 Black female solo podcasters. Let's just, throw that out there. We have our own shows. We get together once a month. We bring something from each of our shows. We're friends though. So the more we do this, the more it just becomes a bunch of laughing and the inside jokes come on to the show and all. It's fun though. And it's what we do. We get together outside of that. And once a month, we just record it. So this Saturday, May 22nd, is the next podcast Happy Hour. It is on Chris's platform, which is Shenanigans with Friends. And so if you go, I'm trying to think of the easiest way for you to find that. If you go to my Instagram, so tamarathedon.com, my Instagram thing is on there. Look through my pictures. You'll see that I shared her podcast Happy Hour thing. It's going to be on her platform, on her YouTube, her Twitter, and Facebook. I don't know why Instagram is so difficult. Like why they can't just join in on, y'all would get so much more love from me, Instagram, if I could go live on y'all through StreamYard. But anywho, so we have the podcast Happy Hour this Saturday. So you should definitely check that out. I told y'all about my new episode. That's all I got for y'all. So thank you so much for tuning in. Go to roomforroots.org, learn more. Definitely join the program if you're trying to start a business. I highly recommend it. If you already out here good financially and you're looking for something solid because you have a heart for that, sow into her financially because, she does a lot. She does a lot and she does it because it's important. But she does a lot. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. What's today? Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of y'all Wednesday and all that good stuff. Thank you for having me. Yes. Thank you so much for giving me your time. So bye, y'all.
Bye.